When their husbands are killed in a heist gone wrong, 3 widowed women must forge a bond to repay a debt to a local crime boss and create their own destiny. In this film, co-written by Gone Girl author Gillian Flynn and directed by 12 Years a Slave director Steve McQueen, Wes and Desi planned their take on this tense thriller, Widows, on this now playing episode of View the Right Thing.
Hey, welcome back to another now playing episode, I guess is what we're calling it. View the Right Thing.
That's the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
Good job.
I was saying welcome to this episode.
Oh, no,
of
you
the
had
show.
like a weird pause
because
there.
I was processing the fact that we're calling it now playing. I wasn't sure if I should, because we were calling them mini episodes, but all of our episodes are kind of coming out to this length now.
Yeah.
Around, so I didn't want to call it. I panicked. So we're here to talk about a movie that we saw in the theater. And it will get probably spoilery.
Yep, probably.
In just a little bit. Yeah. How you doing, Des?
I'm doing all right. Trying to get rid of the last of a scratchy throat I've had for a while. But...
Oh, boy. Here we go. Here we go with the scratchy throat.
Barking.
Yep, Walter's saying hi.
It's okay, buddy.
Wants
It's
to be
okay.
part of the podcast. So, I guess let's just dive into Widows.
Let's do it.
So the movie is about. So the movie's about. I was like, how spoiler should I get in the plot? It's about a group of women whose husbands all did heists together and have all died. And the widows are sort of left trying to figure out that, well, they're kind of caught up in a owing some money situation. Mm-hmm. And so they decide to pull a heist of their own. That's the basic plot of the film.
Yeah.
So first, as per usual, before we get into spoilers, we'll talk about, whether we like the film, whether we think it's worth paying for, blah, blah, blah. Des, did you like this movie?
I did like this movie. I liked it quite a bit. I definitely think it's worth the money to see it.
Worth a $15 ticket to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I really, really liked the movie. I think it was visually interesting. I thought the performances were excellent. I thought they didn't just stick to the normal, cliched heist thing. There are some of those things in there because it's still a heist movie.
Right.
But the plot wasn't exactly what you thought it was going to be, I don't think.
No, yeah, there are definitely things... Like, I had a vague idea of what it was about, but there were still things in it that surprised me.
Yeah. Yeah. So the movie stars Viola Davis, Michelle Rodriguez, Elizabeth Debicki, Liam Neeson, John Bernthal's in it for a moment, Colin Farrell, Robert Duvall. Some pretty great actors in it.
But you only said 3 of the women.
Well, what is her name? I'm not sure anybody's going to recognize... Oh, Daniel Kaluuya is in it, who's great. I don't even know where she... I'm looking on IMDb, I'm trying to find her.
Good Lord, why is she not at the top with the other 3?
Well, because, first of all, she's
I know she's not in it as much, but...
Well, she's just not in it as much, but she's also not a recognizable face.
Yeah. But...
I don't think. Getting there. Jackie Weaver's in it. I got completely derailed. Garrett Dillahunt, who I was surprised to see. I was really excited to see in this. Cynthia Erivo is in the film. She plays Belle. So, I guess we can...
Some kind of, like, all dog/cat tear down, breakout in the outside of the neighborhood going on. The dog's having a really hard time.
Yeah, I know. So, the movie's directed by Steve McQueen. It was written by Gillian Flynn and Steve McQueen, and it's based on, I think, a book by Linda LaPlante. I was kind of blown away by a lot of things in the film. Besides the performance of Viola Davis, I've said on the podcast, I'll follow her to the end of the earth.
Yeah.
Like, I think she's amazing. But the directing by Steve McQueen, you might know him from 12 Years a Slave. I don't know if you saw that one, Des.
I don't think I saw it.
He's a really smart, deft filmmaker, He knows when to just kind of let the actors do their thing, and he knows when to get stylistic with like his camera, like his shot selection. He used reflections really, really well in this film. He did an amazing shot that I loved from the hood of a car.
Yeah.
And I thought it was not just a neat idea, but it was effective for telling the story. It helped move the story forward.
Yeah.
And get a point across. I guess we can kind of get into spoilers. So, what were your like all good heist movies, like the movie is not exactly everything is not what it seems.
Yeah.
So there's a huge reveal in the film. About halfway through the movie, they don't overtly say it in the scene, but then, well, I guess they kind of do at the end of the scene. But
yeah.
All right, so big spoiler time.
Huge spoiler.
Huge spoiler. Massive spoiler. If you do not want, I mean, this is like
you shouldn't. If you haven't seen it, stop listening.
Yes. Viola Davis goes to check on one of the other widows, and she basically learns without exactly learning that her husband didn't die in the
Viola Davis's
husband did not die in the explosion at the beginning of the film.
Right.
So talk to me about that. What did you think about that? How did you feel about it?
I definitely wasn't expecting it. Oh, jeez, this dog. It made me pretty angry.
Made you angry?
Yeah.
For Viola Davis's character?
Yeah, and also because it made me kind of go, well, why did he leave her the job, the envelope with all the stuff for the heist?
Well, he didn't, right?
Well, he left her, he said, the driver said, he told me to give this to you if anything happened to him.
Yeah.
So, I guess maybe he could have forgotten about that, but it didn't seem like it.
He left the book so she could sell it. He didn't leave the book thinking she was going to do a heist, and that's one of the things that she delivers later in the film is nobody thinks that we have the balls to do this.
But my question is, he clearly doesn't care about her anymore, so why leave her anything? I think he wanted out of the relationship.
Yeah.
Not the way to go about it, by the way.
But I don't think he didn't care about her. I think their marriage was broken by the death of their child.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I thought they explored really well, was this idea of grief and genuine grief over manufactured grief, because at some point she has to just kind of carry on when she realizes what's going on.
Yeah.
There's a few really I don't know. Each of these women sort of has their own motivation for doing this, not just to get out of the money thing. The Elizabeth Debicki's character is abused by everyone in her life, and this is very much an empowerment thing for her. She gets a sense of self-worth. She realizes she can do things for herself. She realizes that she's stronger than she thought she was. And
I think they kind of all do, but I think it is most evident with her character, but
specifically because she's abused.
Right.
She stops playing victim in the film. And Michelle Rodriguez's process of grief, one of the scenes I really loved is she's trying to get information out of somebody, and she goes and she learns that the guy's wife has died and her husband has just died, and they're both grieving.
Yeah.
And they start kissing each other, and then they stop it. And I thought, in any other movie, they're having sex. In any other film, they're having sex. And you never see that guy again. That's not what the scene's about. Yeah. The scene is not about getting the information. The scene is about them processing their grief, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
I liked the statement it was making about corruption in politics and income inequality, and sort of how, you know, there's this thing where this white politician is he's doing a minority business owners thing.
Yeah.
Like that's a part of his platform. He's not actually helping these people own their own businesses. He's owning their businesnes under the guise.
He's basically like
loan sharking
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much.
Like, it comes out to that. Like, it's really interesting because the thing that she says, the salon owner who's basically being loan sharked by this politician guy, she says, I just wanted to own my own business, and he lets me think I do.
Yeah. I thought that was like, such a striking piece of dialogue.
He doesn't let me own my own business. He didn't, help me own my own business, but I can at least pretend like I do, which is like so fucked up.
Yeah, absolutely. There's another really great comment where they talk about how he's running to be the alderman of this district and in Chicago, and they comment that his house is 1 block inside the district line. Mm-hmm. He's not really a part of that district.
Right.
And that's the shot that I loved, was he's leaving an event and the camera's basically mounted on the hood of the car, and you're hearing him and his aide / maybe girlfriend. They sort of reference that they're sleeping together.
They do?
Well, yeah, because he's asking her, have you ever slept with a black guy? And she's like, are you trying to figure out if your dick is bigger? The point is that she's sleeping with him, so she would know.
Okay. I somehow didn't put that together.
At least that's what I was getting at.
What I got out of it was like, he's asking a personal question that has nothing to do with anything.
I think it's both. I think it's both. But, I mean, she specifically says that line, so I assume that's what was going on. He's also not married in the film.
Right.
And she's with him, like, at funerals and stuff, too.
Yeah, that's true.
So they mount the car on the hood during this conversation, and she kind of lets him have it a little bit. And, like, she puts everything back on course in their conversation and their monologue, which is great. But you never see them in this during this monologue. You're seeing the neighborhood as they leave this event, and you're looking at the right side of the car, and so you're seeing all of the income inequality in action, all of the buildings and empty lots and lots of brick structures and things. And then at a certain point they start to get close to his house. There's no cut.
No, yeah.
It's just one drive, and the camera moves to the center of the car while they're talking, and then the camera moves to the left side of the car, and all of a sudden you see all the beautiful houses and people that are getting lawn work done, people getting stuff installed, and construction workers doing renovations on really nice, beautiful houses. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was such a smart, an intelligent way to demonstrate something that they said in dialogue. They actually showed it to us. They actually made us understand it in a very visceral way.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing that I think filmmakers are going to steal. I think it's just so smart.
Yeah, it was really well done. They did a lot of, I think you kind of mentioned this a little bit, but he does a lot of work with mirrors and reflections, mm-hmm. and breaks up the frame in an interesting way.
Yeah.
Like when she's in the bathroom, I think she's maybe getting ready for the funeral.
Uh-huh.
And she's, putting her makeup on or whatever. She's like having a moment at the vanity.
Yeah.
And this is like a shot where it's like, you can see on the left side of the screen, you can see kind of almost the side profile. And then there's like a piece where you can see the reflection of the dog on the bed. And then you see her back. And then you see the bed with the dog on it.
Yeah.
Like, it's really interesting how that was broken up.
Yeah. Yeah, perspective. I thought perspective was really interesting. The end of the film, there's two characters. I think Viola Davis's Veronica and Elizabeth Debicki's Alice, that are kind of connected to each other in a way. Mm-hmm. They're the two that seem that they have the most connection. Yeah. And at one point in the film, she mentions, I'm your friend, and she's like, you're not my friend, but they really do become friends in the film.
Yeah.
And by the end of the film, there's this, I think that connection stands. That's what I kind of loved about the ending. They both separately end up in the same diner, and there's a pillar with mirrors on it. And there's a really great shot kind of from a little further away over Viola Davis's shoulder. But the way the mirrors are positioned, you can see Viola Davis's face and you can see Elizabeth Debicki's face, and she's looking at her.
Yeah.
And just from the shot alone that these two people are connected. They have a bond.
Yeah.
And that's not going away. And then, they demonstrate that a little bit later. But, the framing was really interesting. I think you're right. I love that he wasn't afraid to get the camera dirty. In industry terms, that's putting things sort of in the way of what it is that you're trying to shoot. So if you're shooting somebody's face, there's a really great shot in the funeral scene. They're at her son's funeral.
Right.
And the camera is basically shooting almost through flowers.
Yeah.
There's like leaves and stuff in the way, and you can't quite see Viola Davis completely clear. There's a lot of stuff like that in the film where he allows the camera to get kind of dirty and obstructed by things to say like this is the only thing that matters. What you can see here is the most important thing.
Right.
None of this other extraneous stuff.
Right. There was one other thing we talked about. What was it? Oh, the
it was a TV series.
Elizabeth Debicki.
Yeah. About
how tall she is and how they let her be tall in this movie.
Yeah, I had seen somebody had commented on that previously, that in other things that she's in, they tend to shoot her in a way that doesn't really demonstrate how tall she is. I mean, we've seen her and stuff before, and I've never noticed how tall she was. I think they also put people on apple boxes and stuff to match their heights so they're more even.
Yeah.
Notoriously, that happens a lot with Tom Cruise, because Tom Cruise is 5'7" or something,
right?
And so they're constantly putting him on apple boxes to make him the same height as women. And in this film, they just let her be. I don't know how tall she is. She's 6 foot easy.
Yeah, she's very tall, and even the man that she's seeing, that's a
significantly shorter than her.
Significantly shorter than her, and they just let him be shorter.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, and I think too, it sort of, I don't know if they cast him shorter than her, or if they just was a circumstance, but it demonstrated a different shift of power for her, I think.
Yeah.
As well, because I think she, through her relationship with him, starts to see her self-worth as well, not because of him in a positive way.
Right.
So this was a TV series. I didn't see the TV series.
Oh, Widows.
Yeah. But hey, it's a British TV series from the 80s.
Oh, okay.
I guess Colin Farrell and Robert Duvall improvised a lot of their scenes together, which was kind of neat to think about, because it felt father and son-ish, but again, it felt very abusive.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It felt like this guy was just trying to get out from under his father's shadow.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of gets their justice as well. The fathers and the husbands and the shakedown crooks.
It's interesting because you kind of, I feel like at the beginning of the movie are like, oh, I definitely don't want this white guy to win the election for the alderman, and then by the end of it, you're kind of going, well, he won it, but I don't think he wanted it.
No, I think he wanted out.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a punishment for him.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, even though he was trying, like, he was running, it was more out of duty.
Out of duty, and I think there was a part of him that did genuinely want good things for people.
Yeah.
Because there were some telltale things that were different between him and his father. Like, the father drops the N-bomb and stuff, and he doesn't. And he does seem genuinely... He gets asked a question by a reporter about an audit. And it seems that there's some work on the green line, the elevated train, that is costing the taxpayers a lot more money than initially planned. And his response to that is so, like, it's such a thought out, logical response. Like, people have to get to work. Like, creating business owners who can't get to their businesses, there's no point in creating the businesses.
Right.
Even though it's a sort of fake business ownership.
Right.
They're trying to do something, you know, and I want to know more about it. You know what I mean? Like, I wish we could have lived in the world a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I really enjoyed this movie.
I did too. Really great performances. I think that surprisingly, like, the one that honestly sticks out the most to me is the alderman's assistant. She just gives it to him in the car and is like, "Listen, dude, get your shit together." Like, she hasn't been in a lot of stuff that I've seen, but I thought she was really good.
Yeah, I swear I felt like I recognized her in something, but man, I have not seen any of the things that she's been in. Apparently she was in Colony for a year or so. Finding Carter, if you've seen that show, I suppose.
She's in a lot of, like, miscellaneous episodes of things, and...
Yeah. The March Sisters Christmas?
Yeah, it looks like a Hallmark type
or
Christmas
Lifetime
movie.
Yeah.
But no, she did really well in this, and I think, I hope that means good things for her in the future.
Yeah, I agree.
As someone who's relatively unknown, a working actor, as you call them, in the business.
A working actor?
Yeah.
Someone who gets work?
Someone who gets a lot of small work.
Sure.
Not a famous actor.
Yeah.
A working actor.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You never heard that term before?
No, I have. I said I'm yes.
Oh, I don't know. You're just acting like you've never heard that before.
No, not at all. Okay, so I think that I don't know what else we can say. I think we kind of spoiled it and ruined it for anybody who hasn't seen the movie yet.
Yeah.
Why are you listening if you haven't seen the movie yet?
Viola Davis is amazing as always.
Yeah, she earns every penny that she makes. She should make more.
Elizabeth Debicki was good in it too. They're all good. They're all
good. It's a great like the clock is ticking. You've got a deadline. Heist film that doesn't get too cliched. Something that they didn't do in it is they didn't do like, here's how we're gonna do it, and then they show you while they're narrating like, so and so's gonna do this, and then they're gonna do this, and then this is gonna happen. There was none of that, which I kind of appreciated. It was a little grittier than that.
There was also like 2 times in the movie when
people cheered.
No, I was going to say when the women could have just given up.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't,
And they chose not to.
And so that, I appreciate that.
Yeah. And the cheering. There was cheering in the theater.
There definitely was.
And there isn't in every movie. We just went and saw... we just saw Fantastic Beasts, right? Which there's a podcast for already. And there was no cheering in that.
No.
The audience didn't cheer in that, but in this there was. I think everything that happens in this film feels complete, feels cathartic, it feels earned.
Yeah. Also, that dog has an adorable walk.
The little Yorkshire Terrier.
Yeah, he's like real stumpy legs.
Or whatever it was. Yeah, it was real stumpy. Oh man, I saw you, Desi, grab my arm. There was a moment with that dog.
I know. I was like, this dog's about to maybe get hurt.
Well,
I was upset about it.
Actually, let's talk about that, actually, because that's a really good point. That there's a moment where they've sort of introduced the person running against Colin Farrell's, I forgot his name. He's on the show Atlanta. I really like him. Anyways, they sort of start him out as a nice guy.
Yeah.
You think he's going to be sort of a good guy in this. And then he shows up at Viola Davis's character's house, and he grabs her dog and holds it by the collar, like by the neck.
Yeah.
And then you know
he's not a good guy.
He's not a good guy, and you're not going to want to root for him.
But like from the beginning of that scene, he's like holding the dog and like petting
and you're nervous,
and cuddly, and like I'm like, this feels not genuine. Like he's pretending.
One hand is on the dog's throat.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like at any second this is about to go wrong. So it's a nice, recognizable way to tell the audience that don't ever root for this guy.
Yeah. He's putting on a front. Like, he's pretending to be a nice guy, but he isn't really.
Yep.
Like, he's in it just as much as the other guys. Yeah. The other bad guys.
All right. Well, there you go. We recommend it. Go see Widows. It will at least be talked about for awards. I don't know where it'll end up, but I really liked it. I wouldn't be upset if it got nominated for some awards.
Yeah, me neither.
All right. Well, we'll be back soon with another episode with some more Now Playing Movies. And then Steve and I have an episode coming up soon on Steven Spielberg's 1941. So if you want to, Viewsters, if you want to if you want to watch 1941 before we put that episode out, then you'll be caught up and ready to hear that one. All right, until next time, bon cinema.